off your
Yeah.
base. So I'll just say that I'm not going to reiterate stack day, but stack day was like going from 50 patients a day to 100 and, planning a few months out so that you could see where the system is broken, would break, or where the constraints are, which makes you
Mm,
prepared then to have 100
mm,
from a chiropractic patient standpoint. So as far as the fear part goes, a fear that's undefined tends to have more impact on you than if you take control of the fear, right? If you kind of turn around and look at it. So what I noticed you say is you're afraid that you won't meet their expectations.
mm.
Question I have for you, number one, and you can answer this to me or to yourself even, is number one, have you taken, like, how have you, or have you controlled their expectations? Is it clearly defined what they can expect and what they should not expect from you? Or have they been left to make that all or some of it up in their own mind? Do you know the answer to that, right? If you're like, hey, here's what I will do. I will every day send you a prospective property. Like, that's aggressive, but I'm just
Yeah.
making an example. You can expect me to spend 4 hours per week looking for the ideal property for you or more, right? But I just want you to like so have you defined the expectations?
Mm,
And if you haven't, you might have some little gray area right now because you already have these 4 clients, but do they know what to expect? And I would include that, like, look at your onboarding or before they even sign the agency agreement. Here's what I will do for you. And
mm,
here's how I will do it. So, and then also on the flip side of managing that, like, what I will do expectation is to manage what might go as unplanned. Like, hey, there is a possibility that it may take some time because this is a hot market. I just want you to give you in advance, like we may look at your deals and try to structure them so that they're more competitive, or you may make deals and it's possible that you might make 20 offers and not get a deal, just so you understand that. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or I'm doing anything wrong. I'm going to
mm.
work as hard as I can to make your offers competitive. Just like manage expectations
Yeah.
without losing the deal, right? Not, you don't want to make them feel like, well, why should I hire you then? You got to get me the deals, but to help them to not just think it's all going to be magic and I'm going to get everything I want. And if I don't, then it's all Dan's fault, right? Nobody
Mm,
needs that.
yeah.
So realistic expectations while still, you know, being confident that you want to take them on as a client and serve them at a high level. Um,
Yeah. That's actually one of my goals of the strategy session today when I get on the call with them.
okay.
Not just to plan what they are looking for to buy, and what areas and also how many properties they might need, but also to manage those expectations of myself, of this service that I'm providing them, basically. And
Yeah.
basically, exactly what you have said just now, what can go wrong in the hot market, what are the risks involved, what can slow the process down, what is your
Right.
time urgency in getting a property, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
And then right after you do that, or like whether you do it in like one big chunk after you list the things like those challenges or like expectations, make sure that you talk about how you mitigate those risks so they don't just think you're like, well, you didn't get it again. Like, so here's how I'm different. Here's how I'm going to mitigate this. Like, because we know, what do we know? Like, you could put expectations in a what do we know right now category. Like, right now, we know it's a hot market. So offers, there's multiple offers on every property. What else do we know? We also know that most offers are over asking price.
Mm,
What else do we know? We also know that there are, a flood of investors into the marketplace. Okay, what else do we know? Like, you don't have to, just to give you an example. So
yeah.
here's how I mitigate that risk. I mitigate the risk by helping you to structure the most appealing offer that's appropriate for the property. Sometimes that's recommending or having a look at, can we put in more cash or can we have less contingencies? Like, we'll look at all those factors to make your offer as desirable as possible. What else? Well, there's a lot of, so you just like how you mitigate the risk. So they're like, dude, like, this guy gets what the challenges are in the market. And it's not a perfect plan because no plan is perfect, but he's aware of them and he has a plan to help
Mm,
to navigate it. So that makes you the expert.
okay.
Um,
Yeah.
that way they don't walk away thinking like, there's just a bunch of reasons why it might not work,
Okay. Yeah. All right. Got it.
which is good because they already probably know. If they're even reasonably seasoned investors, they know. They just want to make sure that because honestly, as an investor myself, I would say the thing that I'm looking for the most is somebody who understands the challenges. They're not just staying in the cookie cutter model of like, oh, you sign a contract and I'll find you a house and you know, I'm not going to do anything else. And, you know, like you said, they'll just randomly throw some houses that hop up on the MLS that are, you know, tell
Yeah.
me your price range.
Yeah.
And I just get those. I'm like, this is not what I'm, you know, like you don't get the investor mentality or what I'm actually looking for. So the fact that you have that, just make sure they know it.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So have you defined the expectations, like, so that my intention for bringing all this up is that I'd like you to put yourself in a position where you don't have that undefined pressure of satisfying them, where you're like, look, you know, I'm going to be sassy here for a second. And I'm not saying you would talk to them like this, but I'd like to propose, like, or just imagine that the expectations are so clear and how you're going to serve them that you could literally say, I did the thing I said I was going to do, or I didn't. Like, hey, you know, so just so you know, like every week or every day, I'm going to get a list of properties and here's how I'm going to analyze them for you. And I'll send you the best ones.
Mm.
You either did it or you didn't do it. So
Mm.
now it's because that feeling of like someone might be thinking poorly of you, but you don't know for sure. And you're not sure. It's just it's not a good feeling, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully
Okay.
that helps to just
Yeah.
define it. And okay, one more idea also is one other thing we did in my chiropractic clinic is we stepped away from the current clients we had, and all the doctors together, we did we did it individually. We did an exercise of what would a perfect experience look like. And if you haven't done that yet for your clients, I would encourage you to write it out. Just imagine somebody you don't even know. Don't anchor it to anyone in this world right now. Just say, if I were going to design the perfect client experience, what would it look like? And you'll probably have milestones or big pieces that are apparent to you,
Mm.
and get the first draft of like the obvious of the perfect client experience out, and then maybe walk away, take a day or something, come back, and now look at it like, okay, well, if I was going to make this even better so that they were wowed and impressed and had this experience that was worth talking about to others and coming back to me again and again as a client, what else could I do? What else would they need to have that wow experience? And so now you've built something out that's not just for one person. You step back and said, you know, what would, like, even if you were to give this to some other agent, you know, like what would an amazing experience be? And you can ask that question. I think you, because of your ethics and how much you care, I think I would be really interested to see in what creative things you come up with for just
Yeah.
knocking their socks off with, you know, and then you can dial it in or out. You're not necessarily making a decision to add all those things to your current
Right.
workflow.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the perfect experience and then adapt to it and
Yeah. I mean, start with it, right? So your perfect experience right now, you have a system similar to what you're putting in ClickUp, right? Like you're probably like where you meet with them and you make an offer and you give them the paperwork and you go send them properties. Like those are the big pieces of the big puzzle. But then if you go back and ask yourself, like, okay, well, in this piece, is there anything else, looking at it from your client's perspective, that would be standout service? Like they're like, oh, wow, this, they also, I don't know what it would be, right? But is there anything else you would add? Not just along the lines of like, oh, send them roses. Like I'm not
yeah.
necessarily just saying that, but I mean, what else would they need to just feel clear, confident? Like, would this be appropriate time to send them a postcard? Or would they also want this other report? Or, you know, just kind of map out what a amazing experience would be for one individual. Like imagine a person, but you know, just
Yeah.
so in chiropractic, we mapped out like, okay, great. Well, this is what their whole experience would be from start to finish of the relationship.
Right. This newest client that I've signed up, he's a doctor. One thing that he mentioned was that he likes people who are responsive.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that you have to be immediately responding to my right from the second I send you a message or a call or something like that. But he understands that everybody's busy, but as long as you reply with some sort of intent and respond to his questions or
Right.
clarifications, anything, he's happy.
Right.
And he doesn't
Okay. Even if
expect you to
like I
know
saw this
everything.
and I'll get back to you by tomorrow.
Yeah, 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 if you say that you're coming back to me by tomorrow, then please come back to me by tomorrow, because otherwise I don't know whether you still want my business or not.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Right.
It feels weird that I, as a client, have to chase you for my money, sort of thing. So he doesn't like that approach, because that's what his experience was with a tax accountant.
Yeah.
The other thing also is, he doesn't expect me to know everything, but he appreciates if there's any concern that he has, we can brainstorm together.
Okay.
So yeah, those are the things that I picked up with my first client as well. He said that the other buyer's agent that worked for him called him every single day, whether there's a property that he is referred or not, shortlisted or not. He will just say, hey, today there's nothing, I'll let you know tomorrow. He did tell me that, look, you don't have to call me every day, because
Yeah.
I don't expect that there's new properties coming online every single day, but every few days, if you can just drop me an update, that'd be good.
Okay. So how do you take that out of your to-do list in your head of like, oh God, have I messaged him enough? Have I not
Yeah,
messaged him enough? Like what happens? Do you have any solution planned or in
I
place for
don't
that right
have one, to be honest. I have not reached to that stage yet. So,
now? Okay.
which is why I'm hoping ClickUp can help me, alert me every, say, 3 days, drop an update, drop an update, drop an update, or something like that.
Mhm.
At least I can track, because right now, I have it on paper, I have it in my computer, I have it on my phone, so it's everywhere. It's not centralized.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, like, how do you find, like for this guy, if there is an update, how do you get the update? Do you have to go out, you sit on the internet and try to find things, or do you set up a filter and you get properties that pop up for you? Or how would you know what to send him anyway?
Yeah, so along the week, I will almost daily look at properties that's for sale. I actively cull properties that I don't think are suitable. I'll do my due diligence on each and every one of them.
Mhm.
And once I shortlist one or two properties, that or maybe say 3 to 5 properties, I'll send it to a property manager. He or she will then inspect the property on my behalf, send me the video. I will review the video. I'll speak with the property manager, say, oh, so property A is this, property B, what's the condition, that sort of thing. I'll take my notes, and then I'll decide, okay, I think we can go for property 1 and 2. I'll forward that on to the client and say, out of these 2 properties, my recommendation is this one. What do you think? And then they say,
Mhm.
all right, let's go with your recommendation. Let's put in an offer.
How
Then
long does that process take from the moment you see a property online until you have that conversation with your client?
within once I get the video inspection back, probably within 24 hours at the most.
Yeah, but how long does it take to get a property manager there, get a video inspection? How long, like from the moment you see it online until you
Probably a
have this?
week.
Okay,
week.
and do you think that's why you're losing out on deals? Is it not fast enough?
Um,
Part of the reason, not the only reason, I'm sure price
yeah,
and, but
probably
this,
part of the reason, yes. I can understand why the PMs aren't able to get their foot in the door soon enough, because the agents in the very super hot market in Perth right now, they dictate everything. So they will say things like, the open for inspections is on this date, no one will come before that.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
and then
come
they
on
were
this
like, we'll
date,
accept offers until 6 p.m.
yeah,
Like that's 7 days sometimes, and you
yeah,
either get it in or
yeah,
you don't.
correct. Your final and the best offer, and we'll take it all to the client. We'll get 20 offers written to the client, present it, and the client will choose. The rest will
Yeah,
be,
yeah,
yeah. So
right, totally get it. Okay, so hopefully the things that we're talking about are what's on your list, because I'm just talking with you right now. So are
yeah,
we good to do what we're doing, or do you want to? Because I've got some thoughts for you. Or
yeah,
we
sure.
could,
Yeah,
okay.
let's, yeah.
Just so looking at your system, like, and then are you paying were you paying somebody to go to a video walkthrough before you've even shown it to your client?
Yeah, well, the property managers I pick normally don't charge for inspections on behalf of me, so they will do a
Okay.
proper walkthrough and then send it to me.
And so who are these people that are doing this? The property manager, they're all people that you don't know that are just happen to be managing that property, you're saying?
No, they are property management agencies, and
Okay.
one way for them to get the business is to say that I will inspect this property for you for free on the condition that you pass that property for me to manage after you buy the property.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah,
great. So you in some way vet the property management companies a little bit, at least then, so that you don't get like a terrible property management company after, if your buyer does purchase, if your investor purchases a
correct.
property. Um, So let's see, and you have farm markets right now? Like I know your investors maybe, but they're kind of in a certain area in Perth in general, right? Like, so do you have like a kind of your go-to hot list of property managers in your farm area or?
Yeah, that's a way for me to shortlist them. There are, like sites like Rate My Agent, and then I'll see who are the highest top ranking reviews. I'll
Mhm.
interview them on the phone, pick like 5 to interview, and then I'll select 2 or 3 from there.
But are your properties, how far apart? Like, let's say, do you have like 3 farm areas? I know your investors maybe like you're in a certain, how many regions do you help people in? Let me ask you that.
All across Australia. So the first step for me is after the strategy session, I will say, okay, so where do you want to
Yeah, yeah,
invest in?
invest.
They may say, Dan, you are the expert, you do the research, you tell me where. I said, okay,
Mhm.
so let's go to suburb A, B, and C, or
Yeah.
these 3 to 4 clusters in
Mhm.
Australia, say right now, maybe in Perth, or maybe in regional Perth, and they say, okay, let's go there. Once I got that location, I will then go into that location and search for property managers in that local area.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll pick the local property managers. They will do the inspections and then come back to me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is where I want to go with this is a couple things. So from a ClickUp standpoint, and you're recording this, or you can notes whatever you want. Like ClickUp, I want you to imagine that I don't know, I'll say in a couple of weeks, you're gonna get dropped off on a desert island and you don't have any cell phone signal and you can't do anything. For real. I want you to imagine that. And because what I want you to challenge yourself to do is look at the things that you're doing on a repeated basis and write the system down around it so that you can get it into ClickUp and delegate it to someone. Now, there's certain parts of like um, quality control that you need to do. And I'm not saying right now that you need to jump to delegating all of this, but things like property managers, that system is repeatable. You do it in a certain
Mm.
way. Therefore, you can document it just like tell me what food if you made a food, what food would it be? If you made a food for your family, what dinner would you make?
Um, Ham and cheese sandwich.
Okay, great. So you know how to make ham and cheese sandwiches. If I said sit down and write it out or talk it out, if you don't, some people's brains don't work well writing, how you would go about making a ham and cheese sandwich, and you'd do it, and it'd be a little, okay. Could somebody else reasonably make the same sandwich? Probably. You might have to test it a couple times and see if something that seems obvious to you isn't obvious to them. So you have a recipe right now to make a ham and cheese sandwich. You also have a recipe right now to find and choose property managers in an area. Write that down, put it in ClickUp so you have a system.
Mm.
And
Mm.
can you see how you could, 2 things. Number one, just for this particular example, you could have your list of go-to property managers, your top 10 that you don't have to keep doing the research. They're just your people. Maybe you already have that. Like here's my person in eastern part of Perth or
Yeah.
south or
Yeah.
guess you can be east in Perth, maybe not west as much, but anyway, you get the point. There's a western part of the city. So have your list of go-tos and then also have your structure for if you were on a desert island and no one could find you for a while, would your business just go, and be done? Give somebody a chance to read a recipe and say, okay, here's how Dan finds vets, how he chooses his thought process. So write your recipe down for getting a property manager. And number 2, so to step aside from that, or to kind of zoom out a little bit, that's how making a great set of systems to finally get your systems into ClickUp or anywhere else you choose to keep them is you write down a list of the things that you do, rinse and repeat. You do it all the time. You have a system. So for me, when I'm doing ClickUp or now that I'm hiring someone, I made a list of all the things that I know that I do, even though I haven't made a system for them, like tracking attendance for momentum and how many one-on-one calls. And I have a system for that. And then I made a list of systems that I hope to have someday, but that I don't have yet, like social media marketing or I don't know what, automatically paying my bills. I mean, I kind of have a
Mm.
system for that, but anyway, known systems is where you're going to start like a sniper, just ding, 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 checking off the recipes for your known systems. The beauty of it is when it's a rinse and repeat known system, you have more time to spend with your clients and doing the art of the thing that only you know how to do. That only you not know-how, the only, the only thing that you can do, like if
Yeah.
yours is helping to maybe evaluating deals even, I don't know, you could delegate so many things in what you're doing. But whatever it is that you do the best, that's the only thing ultimately that I want you to keep on your plate.
Right.
Like, so as a chiropractor, if I tried to answer the phone, greet the patients like, hey, Dan, welcome to the clinic. You know, how you doing today? Good to see you. Let me get your chart. Let me walk you back to the room. Then I adjust you. Then I walk you back to therapies and you get hot packs. And then I walk you to the front and I take your payment. I can see about 6 people in an hour. But
Mm.
if someone else does the other things because I wrote down the recipe, how do you greet a patient? How do you get their chart? How do you take them back to the room? How do you take payment at the end? How do you schedule the next appointment? All of a sudden, I maximize my value because I'm just adjusting patients all day. That's the only way I could have seen 80 to 100 people is by like adjust, 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 adjust. I could see 20 people an hour because everyone did everything else. That's the bigger picture. But
Mm.
until I was willing to say, hey, how do I do this? And even if you don't want to get to that point where, you know, maybe there's some things you want to hold on to, but right now you can't get rid of them because you don't have any way to tell somebody else how to do them. So
Yeah.
anyway.
I'm glad that you brought this point up because I had problems trying to identify which part of my business I can actually
Mhm.
not say farm out right away, but what are the parts of business that I can give somebody else in due course.
Yeah.
One of the only sections that I could identify was the research component.
Yeah. For properties.
Yeah, not just the
Yeah.
properties, but just to identify the suburb areas because I have like 20 to 30 data factors that I have to check to
Mhm.
zone in the suburbs that I look at.
Right.
So but yeah, other than that, I didn't think about the property managers, the selection of property managers. That's actually a good one. So
Yeah, just an example, like, how about tell me another list, like, since you're recording this, like, just since you're in this mind, we're in this mindset right now. Like, like, I mean, I'm gonna pretend, let's see, start to think, like, you could, like, delegating, all the steps in that process. When you look at that ideal client journey, you kind of look at what you're doing right now, and then you can make it better, right? You can expand on it, but just looking at what you're doing now it's very linear, your journey. Maybe that's not.
yeah,
Is that you?
no, that's not
My phone's on airplane mode. Hang on a second. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's ringing. Huh. That's the oddest thing ever. I'm on airplane mode, no Wi-Fi, no anything. Huh. No, somebody's,
must be an alarm or something.
yeah, and yeah, no, I don't think so. Let's see. That's very interesting. Anyway,
Yeah.
nope, no alarm set. No idea. I don't know.
Right. So maybe I'll this is exactly. Do you want me to talk through the whole process, just like what I did with the consultant yesterday?
Well,
Would
I
that be
would
too
just
long?
say, no, I would say for right now, just map it out. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's other things on your, but what I was trying to get at actually was like looking at that process and then saying, okay, great. You know, here's how I identify properties, like just some, like you could probably spit something out. I'm just taking a run at it just to give you the example. So like you have a system for how you look for properties. You have a system for
Mm,
how you decide which are the properties that move on to the next phase of
mm,
you know, of examination. You
yeah.
have a system for how you find the property manager. You have a system even for how you communicate it to your clients. You have a system for, I don't know,
Yeah.
how you want the videos, you know, when you do get them back from the property manager, you have a system for fill in the blank, like submitting offers, all of that, you have a system for. So I want you to make a list of systems as
Mm,
my point of, and how I was trained to do it was to, for 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, but you can do it shorter if you want. Write down, notice what you're doing each that day and be like, oh, today you know, whatever you did, 3 or 4 bullet points, not like long paragraphs. I did this, 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 and this. Those are all systems. So you can eventually look back
mm,
and see you are doing the same things over and over again. And every time that happens, that's a system that you could at least document. Even if you do it forever and you never give it to someone, you now have a system that you can optimize later. Because
mm,
if I'm doing this, it doesn't work for me. I need to make it better. You've already got a recipe. And so then you can make a better ham sandwich later.
mm. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So make a list of your systems, make a list of what you're doing.
Mm.
It's not gonna be perfect. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's just, it's the place to start. And all of this that we're saying is all based on this idea of getting you out of the weeds so that you could serve more than 4, you could serve 10. Imagine you have 10 clients, just like my 100-person day. Right now, you'd be like, ah, no, yes, no.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, yeah. Yes. Okay.
Questions, tell me, because I feel like that might have, the story I made up is that that might have been like a little over. I saw your brain kick in and go like, "Ugh," for a second. So how
Yeah,
are
when
you
you
doing?
mentioned 10 clients in a month, I'm like, oh, I don't think I can handle that.
Right. Yeah, that
No
would
way
be
I can
another
handle that.
challenge for
Unless
another
unless
day.
I've like really dropped my full-time job, then I maybe possibly can, but um
But can you imagine? Okay, let me ask you one last question. Like, so what do you think? Tell me right now a part of what you do that you feel like is your art. It's your thing. Like you do it the best. And if that piece wasn't there, nothing else would even matter. Like, is there a thing that you feel like your is your shining, skill?
mm, that's a good question. It's hard for me if now that you're asking me this, I've it feels like I can't seem to detach myself from every part of the business.
Sure. That's normal.
I feel like I need to have my fingers and toes in every single
Mhm.
part. If you say, can you pull your finger out of this one? I'm like, no, I better leave it in there. So
Sure. That's okay. I mean, that's normal. That's totally normal for where you're at because since you don't have a documented way to succeed in that thing, like other than, if you keep your finger there, it's going to be okay.
yeah,
Then of course, taking your finger away is scary because then the water starts shooting
yeah,
through the dam, right? But if you had like a way to tell someone else, hey, when I take my finger out of here, stick your finger in there and keep it there, they'd be like, oh, okay. And you still might feel a little nervous, but after a couple of days or times of seeing them, they keep their finger in the hole. You're like, oh, this is okay. I can go do something else. Like you don't have any evidence yet because you don't have a
yeah,
system.
yeah. This is
What part do you love the most? Do you love something the most about what you do?
well, looking at the properties, probably shortlisting them, thinking that this one's okay, this one's pretty good. I think we might be able to get it in somewhere, or there may be a part of the property that we could improve to uplift
Mm.
some equity, or that sort
Right.
of, again, it depends on the risk appetites of the clients.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, so like looking for the property, if I'm hearing you right, it's like looking at the properties and like starting to say, oh, well, maybe there's some like forced equity here, or maybe we could buy it.
Mm,
We probably can't buy it at a discount, but maybe, right? Or maybe there's an opportunity to turn it from 2 units into 4, or 4 into
mm.
6, or there's
Or
something
even
that,
a simple thing like adding a second bathroom, and
right,
yeah, something like that. So
right. So you
um
like that, the art of
yeah,
that
yeah,
creative process.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's like analytical and creative. So let me ask you this question then. If you were just like, I'm going to say like an important guy who sat at your desk and you had servants that brought you things. I'm just curious, like, I don't know where this analogy exactly is coming from, but if you had all the data, like that moment when you feel like I've got enough data, now I'm going to like start analyzing this property. And maybe you need a little bit more and you go back and check on some other things. But if I could bring you like, here's all the details, whatever you're looking up right now, like the cash flow, like you get all that, like you get the net operating income and blah, 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 like all that. You get the rent roll. I don't know what you want. Like were they single families? Predominantly, it's like small multis, right? You're not doing big, remind me again, you're not doing
No,
big commercial, just, okay.
no, just residential. Yeah,
Yeah,
small
right, right.
residential.
That's what I thought. Trying to be sure I was still accurate on that. So if I brought you all that, like let's say I even brought you videos of the properties and I brought you all the details and the data and the neighborhood demographics and whatever you want, your heart's desire is just put in front of you and you could look at it all and you can ask questions and you can dig deep and verify it and feel confident taking that to your investor. Would that be like, oh, this is good. Like I could do that.
Yeah, if somebody can provide me all the data,
Yeah.
researching takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I guess it's that
I was just
um,
curious.
yeah, the initial stage of the research, zoning in on the suburbs, and then also sort of thinking, all right, where are the secondary, slightly cooler markets that we can look at?
That's good. Right. So you're not like, you don't want to be the small fish in a big sea, right? You'd rather be a
Yeah,
little bit bigger fish in a,
yeah,
right. In an up
yeah,
and coming markets have more potential versus waiting till they're already
yeah. Heat,
overpriced as the word.
heated up, yeah, for the past, 12, 18, 24 months. And
Mhm.
um I think that's uh where it takes the longest time. And then also if the client wants to be in a heated market, that's where it also will take a lot of time trying to find a deal to close.
Yeah. Um, and how, curious, how significant are video walkthroughs? Have you had, I'm sure you've had an occasion where you do a video, you get a video walkthrough and you're like, oh, this is like awesome, or, oh, this is bad.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. There have
and
been occasions where I receive videos and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're not giving me what I want.
yeah, but I mean, have you ever had one though, when you look at the property that you would have made a you probably had one, but I mean, how often does it happen that you get a video back that you're like, oh, we absolutely are not investing in that property, or we definitely
Mm,
should? Like, how impactful are those, or are they just nice to have to kind of feel good that you looked? I'm just curious.
no, there have been a couple of instances where I told myself, thank God we inspected the property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question. Could you, if I were your investor, could you come to me and say, hey, here's a short list of properties that right now on paper all look good? And so begin looking at the metrics and the numbers in the areas, et cetera, and maybe give me your top one or two, and then we'll go schedule the video walkthrough. Part of me is like, if I were your investor, I'd be like, just give me the numbers. It used to be, I'll give you the example. Real estate agents used to want to drive me around to look at properties, and I freaking hated it because I said, I don't care. I don't care what it looks like. If the numbers don't make sense to me, there's no reason for me to go look at it because I don't care what the
Mm,
carpet. I mean,
yeah.
I'll care about that later if I know I have to replace it or paint it or patch a hole in the wall or they ripped all the cupboard doors off. I care about that. But right now, I don't care until I know if the numbers even really are a yes for me, the area and the numbers, then and then I'll go. So I wanted to know the area, what the rental rates could be, so I
Mm,
could look at my cash flow. And then I wanted to know what the potential play was on the property. And I don't need to know the interior condition yet. I
mm,
wanted to know, are we going to take this property and turn it into a short-term rental? Are we going to add a bathroom and raise the rents? Are we going, like, what's the play
yeah.
potentially, which
Yeah.
could be decided on based on all those other known facts before I ever even saw the inside of it. So
Yeah.
that's
That's exactly what I do as well. So that's where the strategy session comes in today, is to find out what your risk appetites are in looking
okay.
for the property. So the first guy that I was working with, he's my mortgage broker as well. So he told me, Dan, I don't want to get anything that has too many things to repair. I got no time to attend to them. I run my
Yeah.
own business. I'm a mortgage broker. I got no time for this. Just give me something that is relatively clean and um fair wear and tear. That's fine. I'll spend $5,000 to fix up small little things, but nothing major. Like, I don't want anything. I don't want
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
headaches to
Yeah.
coordinate stuff. So I said, okay, fair enough. So that's where it sort of where the inspection sort of is more important.
Yeah.
um I mean, I'm still new here, and the next three clients, I believe they are somewhat similar in their mindset, because
Mhm.
they're quite, one of the two sisters, they own like 3 or 4 properties already, all in Queensland.
Mhm.
So I guess they're a little bit more experienced. The other one is
Sure.
a brand new investor. So still, they are still quite cautious as to the condition of the property. They don't want something
Yeah.
that's too crazy.
So what if, just, and why am I even saying this? Because it's your business, your system. I'm just saying it because it might speed up your process and make less work if it's not needed to
Yeah.
say, hey, I'm going to send you these properties. Look at the numbers, like look at like have a look at them, however you and the investor are analyzing them. And then if there are a couple that you're like, yeah, I'm really interested in this, then like same day, I'm going to get somebody out there to go do a video versus you don't bring them to them until the video's already been done. Just it's a small
Right.
thing, but it has the potential to make a big impact because you can move faster and they can say, oh, these 5, like, I don't even care about these 2. Just give me the other 3. Great. We're going to get on that right away. We're going to get these 3 videos to you, ASAP. Just might be just an option for you to not lose deals, and only because you still get the video. But I mean, when you send properties to someone right now, how often do they say, okay, I'm interested in this one or these 2, but not the other ones? Like how many do they cherry pick? Like if you give them 3 on average, 5, like, I don't know.
Yeah, what I do is I look at whatever's either online or off market, and I sort of see, all right, this one's not suitable. It's way too expensive. I'll call, and then
Okay.
okay, so there's 3 or 5 that's interesting. I'll have to do some sort of base level due diligence, where they are they on the main road, whether there's a
Yep.
bus stop nearby, whether there's a high power line nearby. I look at the flood zone, bushfire zones, and things like that. And if all
Nice.
takes out, then I'll move it to the next stage where I'll get the property managers tell me what the rents appraisal are, and I look at
Cool.
them. Okay, so this one is about 6.5% yield. That's good. That's what I
Mhm.
want. How many bedrooms? And then I'll quickly get that, and I'll ask them for like if there's any state housing nearby. No. Okay, okay, good. So go inspect these 2, or
Yeah.
these 3 properties, because then at the same time, I'll quickly get a sort of a CMA valuation done on the property, because I'm a property
Mhm.
valuer as well. I'll quickly jot the price range, see whether
Nice.
asking price is pretty fair. Once the video comes back, I'll look at it and see, all right, these 2 properties seems to still meet my client's objectives and risk
Mhm.
tolerance. Then I'll take these 2, I'll forward it on to the client and say, hey, I've got these 2 now. Pick one, we'll offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
I
I
mean, like,
don't,
bringing
y-
so much value to these people. It's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't want them to waste time. Oh, here are 5 or 7 properties. Which one do you like? Because they will tell me, what do you think? I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was just
So
curious. Yeah, I was curious if that's how that usually went, or if I'm
yeah.
just wondering, yeah, I was just trying to like test the need to do the video walkthrough before
Yeah,
sending them
so the
anything.
video
Yeah.
walkthrough is almost at the very last stage, because I've done a lot of due diligence before I get
Okay.
them to go out, because I don't want my property managers to go out for something that I don't even want to buy.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
good. So, right. And yeah, 100%. Right. Same. Right. Where I was thinking, like, if you did the numbers and then send them to your clients and then said, great, if you're interested in that one, we'll do the video. But if you feel like the video walkthrough is not holding it up significantly, like, or if you feel like if it's a problem, how
Mm.
long it's taking and it's causing your clients to lose deals, then I was just suggesting you could send them all that other data and say, out of these 2 properties, I would choose this one. Do you want me to go ahead and get the video done? And maybe
Mm.
they'll say, of course I do, but who knows? They might just be like, no, it just depends, I guess. So,
Yeah, this is one thing that you brought to my attention, is something that I might want to bring up in the expectation management later, as to, especially in super hot markets.
yeah,
One thing that I probably have to tell them is, if you want to move fast and get ahead of the competition,
right.
one way is we may have to skip on the property management inspection if the agent already has done a quick walkthrough of the property
Yes.
in the video.
They already
It
have
may not
something,
be a
right?
detailed one. It may not be something that they actually comment on, because a agent's video and the property manager's video is very different. The things they look at
Yes,
is very different.
right.
One is for marketing purposes. The other one is actually to pick up faults.
Yes, correct.
So that's one thing I can highlight to them, say this might happen, and if we do go ahead with it, you must be comfortable with not even seeing a video, or at least a video from the agent.
Yeah, or they can
Right.
ask, they can say, I am interested in this property, but I definitely still want to wait for it. Like, they have that as an option. You
Yeah,
can still wait, but
correct.
just know that you may not get the
Yes.
property because of that. But that's your, yeah. So I was just thinking, like, that might be something that speeds it up for them. And some of them might not need it. So I would say, like, for you, just to manage your time, and we're getting, so, is what I would love to see you do, because you have clients right now, I mean, and this is such a huge opportunity for growth for you. I want you to imagine that you're preparing now to have a month where you have 10 clients, and the rule is you have to serve them all at that same high level, right? So your assignments right now, and as I'm actually like super excited for you, because I just am. I'll just say that. Like, you might be like, but
Yeah.
no. So assignment number one, okay, write it down. This, your assignment number one is to map out what an amazing client experience would be from start to finish, all the way through, not just the close, but also like the thank you for your business part. You'll do that by mapping out the known pieces now, and then enjoy the process of figuring out if there's other things you want to add. So just map out what a perfect experience, like what you would be really proud of to extend to someone. You can write as much or as little as you want. The only rule is it has to be enjoyable for you to do it. So don't put things in there that you're like, not that you are going to do it all though. So the question is not, can I do this? It's, if it could happen, this is what it would look like. Like, if I could map out, if I could deliver this experience, I think it would be awesome. But I don't want you to judge it based on, you don't have time to do all these things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
send the emails or make the call. That's not the criteria. The criteria is, if you weren't ever going to do any of it and you're just sitting back, what would an amazing customer or client experience be?
It
Just,
doesn't matter whether I can achieve them or not. It's the
nope.
perfect client experience.
Yes, and it's like you're teaching some other you're just telling, you're just creating it. You don't even have to do any of it right now,
Okay.
not in this experiment. So it's
Okay.
not about what can Dan do.
Ah,
It's about setting aside any of that. It's what would this like rich, like amazing experience be for a real estate investor who's working with you or your company? Like, what would that look like? Right. So right now you already have quite a good set of systems in place, but just like, I don't know, like for example,
I
this
would
is small.
love to have like a onboarding experience. As part of the onboarding experience is to sort of teach them the very basics of, say, property investment or property selection, for example, in a video
Yeah.
format. That type of thing.
Yeah.
Just like
That's all.
on Experienceify, and I have like a couple of short modules,
Mhm.
10-minute modules and stuff like that. They will come on board. I'll have a strategy session, and then I'll send them through that videos.
Yeah.
And they take, a week or so to go through and consume all these bits while in the background the research is being done. And then when they come back prepared and they say, okay, so this is what we do. I think it's like
That's
very,
awesome.
yeah, different
Yeah.
from.
So write it down, like make it this like just really almost like sacred place for you to take these things that you're joy and you're looking at it from your client's perspective of like, it's just like buying a house. Like, and you look at your client's perspective all the time. I hear that in the words that you say, like, what do they need and what are they afraid of? And, you know, um, so yeah, enjoy that process. So that's assignment number one, is map it out. If anything was possible, that's what it's called right now. If anything was possible, what would you deliver to them? And what would their experience of it be? I
Yeah.
have seen it before where once you get it mapped out, or like I've seen people assign a client feeling to each step of the process. Even if you want to take it to like next level, like how are they feeling now? Like what, what's the emotion for this part? Like what's their experience here? So how are they feeling? Like they're feeling excited, they're feeling grateful, they're feeling curious, they're feeling, and part of that journey, maybe you'll notice where they get afraid or they feel worried, right? They're not getting enough contact. So they worried, or are you not thinking about them? Then you can solve for that. Because when you can get ahead of someone's worry, that's when you become like irreplaceable, because you've already planned for their worry, and therefore they don't worry. They just get to, for the most part, enjoy the process. So you could apply, how are they feeling to your perfect, just imagine it, and so yeah, that's it. So there's that. Assignment number one, if anything was possible, that's the name of the assignment. If anything was possible, what's the perfect journey? Assignment number two is to pick one system and write it out on a Google Doc and send it to me. You could send me the first one too, it'd be great, the if anything was possible, but definitely I would like that one, but then definitely send me, pick one system and pretend like you're teaching, I don't know, a 15-year-old how to do it, right? You just have to, like, it's like a ham sandwich, right? And it'll be messy at first, but you'll learn, like, okay, well, I guess first I would do this, this, and this. And then when you look at it, you're like, oh, but wait, I've got this other thing that I do, but just give it a shot.
Yeah, I've been told before that I'm very detailed with my instructions,
Perfect.
so I might get too detailed. That's the problem.
Well, let's do this. Your challenge will just be to make the basic pieces, and then where the detail comes in, it can be like a paragraph, right? It can be like a sub. So if you want to do detailed, what I'll pick out of it are like if you were doing like a 1A, B kind of a thing,
Yeah.
I'll just look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then how you do it, what you do versus how you do it are a little bit different. Like first I click on this box and then I make this phone call. What you say on that phone call, you can definitely map that out, but we're just going to look at, you make the phone call to the property manager. Here's what I say. So that's it. So just take a run at it. And then we'll have some material. And then if you want a third assignment, it would be to just also brainstorm a list of all the potential systems you have as you look through your client journey.
How would you determine a system?
Yeah,
So it's
it's gonna be, there could be systems I will just say it is like a thing that is designed to produce an outcome. So if, for example, if your intention or your outcome is to find properties that are suitable for your investors, the moment you open your computer and start clicking on things, you've begun that system because you have an intention for an outcome. So when you are hiring a property manager to go do a video, you have an intention for that outcome. So there will be systems to achieve the bigger systems, right? Because the property manager is there to help you ultimately decide what you're sending. But when you're first vetting properties, like when you open up your laptop, your goal is to find a list of properties. So tell me some of your goals, and I know we're at time, but let's just finish this part of it. So tell me like, just so you get to own this emotionally or intellectually too. So what's the first goal you have? Like after your client, so you've got a system around, write this down too. So you got a system, like make list of systems. Do you have a doc open yet? List of systems. So system number one, or one of the systems is, let me just do that really fast. You're good at Google Documents, right? Yeah, you are. I know you are.
Yeah, okay. I can follow it.
How about you open one? Because if I open it and start one, it'll be mine. I want it to be yours. Like it'll live in my drive. Open just drive and make one. Then maybe share your screen really fast. Just
Wow.
you're fine.
Yeah, so new document.
Yep. And then share it with me in the upper right-hand corner. Share with Jennifer at Live Your Message. Give me editor permission.
Yeah. Editor, yeah.
Good. And then when you're ready, just share your screen with me so I can see what I know you're not doing anything yet, but when you do something, I'd like to see it.
Where do I share? So
Bottom, let's see.
oh, there it is. Yeah, the green button. Yeah.
Okay.
This one.
Okay, great. So just call it, what's the business Chad investment? What is it called? Okay. Good. And then write list of systems. They're usually called SOPs, standard
Okay.
operating
Yeah.
procedures. Yeah. Okay, good. And then just click in the where it says untitled document, just click on that. There you go. All right. And then just hit the arrow on the left that says outline. We don't need that yet right now. Good. Okay. So make a numbered list. There you go. Perfect. Good. Okay, and then just start like, so tell me, and do whatever feels good to you, centering or all that, whatever you like. Um,
So,
just start like rambling stuff off, like give it a shot and see
so
what,
I'm trying to do a specific system now. If we are doing the property managers selection, would that
right,
be?
like find a property manager, or
Yeah.
how I find a property manager, how to choose a property manager, how to find and choose, I'm just making it up, right? So so how to choose, how to select, yeah. And you probably have a different system for how you find them, right? Like maybe you want one that's like, uh, so let's do, just go to the high level for a minute. Let's do a long list of like all the different systems you have.
Okay,
This is,
all the different systems. Okay, yeah.
yeah, you can keep that one on there,
Yeah.
feel free, but, if you're just gonna make a list of all systems, all known systems for right now, I mean, you're gonna remember stuff later. This is just a first pass at the ham sandwich recipe.
Yeah. Brain freeze.
That's okay. You want me to I'll start just saying some things. Does that sound okay to you?
Yeah, yeah.
So like, in property manager selections, underneath that, could you just put like how to find them? It might even be, it'll go above it eventually, but like how to find them, right? Like that's a whole separate system. Like how do you go online and look them up? So if you had to tell somebody, much less choose them, they don't even know how to find them. Um,
Mm.
Selecting suburbs, I mean, there's probably systems under that as far as like how you would do it. Due diligence on shortlisted properties. My brain's like, how do you even get a short list? I don't know what a short list, how do I get to a short list? Much less do due diligence on it. So,
Um,
that's okay. So this is something that I just wanted you to kind of see how you just let it be messy. It's going to be,
yeah.
but then at the top, could you stick the link in the chat to this? Then I can just log in there really fast. I'll make you a list.
This link.
Yes, please. Good. Okay, give me a second here. So, let me think about it like this. Let's see, categories. Consider, like you might end up changing these. I'll just, but it can be like, um, oops, I don't want that to be bold. Let's see. Lines. Uh, I don't know what else would be. Kind of like think of categories. So like, okay, like, 'cause
Mm.
on like, uh, I'm gonna write selling for right now, like slash enrolling. Clients,
Yeah.
signing, like, maybe the other one's like nurturing clients. Like, I don't know if you've got systems around, like first you get a referral and then you get on a phone call. And then I know you had like other signing, like signing documents. Like, I guess that's actually enrolling.
Yeah.
This might just be nurturing in some way or like, follow.
I think
Um,
some now that you're writing this out, some of these components I sort of talked through it with the ClickUp consultant yesterday evening.
Good. Okay, that's awesome.
So I
So
might use some of those discussion with her into this list.
perfect. And so what I'd like you to have, I'll just close out of it for right now, is just have the experience of sitting down and just writing out without, I mean, if you feel like getting into the weeds with it, and I mean that in a positive connotation, if you want to go granular, feel free. I would just encourage you to think about the last 1 or 2 weeks of your life and to think like when you start to do something, what's your intention? So, okay, now I'm going to sit down and find properties.
Yeah.
And if you get into a system too deep and you realize, wait, there's another system here, like I found the properties, like you're saying, and now I'm starting to create a short list. So find them, create a short list. Now due diligence. You did something to get to a short list. You did something, what's the outcome of due diligence? Like, is that selecting the properties so then there's going to be systems just under due diligence of all the other things you said.
Yeah.
So before you get into the how you do all the things, this is the differentiator. Before you get into like how to do all the things, it's good to just say, here's what due diligence looks like. Here's what selecting suburbs looks like. So write those words down, like here's what blank looks like. You put it in here or something. Yeah. Like that's how you'll start. And then you can get into like, let's see, I'll just write, it's going to be kind of weird, but yeah, here's what blank looks like.
Mm.
Here's what, I'll just write, selecting suburbs.
Mm.
And then you'll begin creating a system from there. I'll just insert a.
Yeah.
I can't find it right now, but you get the point. So anyway, yeah. So then you just get the overview, like, so you could literally say like, here's, if it helps your brain, here's what due diligence, here's what choosing.
Mm.
Right, like, I don't know what that is, so what is, I don't know what it is. Just gonna even take this out for right now, because so then you get into like the specifics, right, of like, what does that look like? Here's what, and you're not gonna keep these ultimately, but I think it's a good prompt for your brain. Here's what selecting a suburb looks like.
Mm.
I do this, then I do this, then I do this. And then how you do it, you can detail later, like,
Yeah.
here's what choosing a great property manager looks like,
Mm.
right? So anyway, it just begins to give it some. So go through that list that you have with her. All right, so tell me your assignments then, just so I know you've got them.
So first one, the perfect client experience, if anything was possible.
Okay,
Number two, write one system down.
good,
Number three, brainstorm how many systems I have my business.
good. That's it. This is the path that creates leverage for you. You've already taken the enrollment conversation seriously. That's apparent to me because you've enrolled 3 clients since we talked the last time. And what you're working on here pairs perfectly with what you're doing in ClickUp. And this is the thing that will allow you to have leverage and easily, without stress, even if your wife is in Boston, be able to serve these 4 clients and potentially many, many more in the future. What you are doing right now. And it goes faster than you might think. So that's the good news. And this is where your biggest leverage point is right now for exceeding these clients' expectations, getting referrals, retaining them as clients for future deals, as well as helping to calm your worry. That all of it lies in these things, these 3 things.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. Good. So please tag me. Okay. And do your best, forget the rest. That's a saying from some fitness guy. Tony Horton always says P90X. I don't know if you've ever seen P90X as like some
Mhm.
fitness thing on video VHS or something. I don't know. I think it was DVDs. But anyway, do your best, forget the rest. So have fun with this. You're way ahead of the curve, and it could really make a huge impact for you in your business. So
It's yeah, scary, exciting, but pretty nervy to
what part's nervy? Can you just tell me that before we go? Like
yeah.
what feels nervy about it?
I've always got my children in the back of my mind, and and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
um the only reason why I'm nervy and fearful is whether, because if I were to do something, I need to sacrifice something else.
Mm.
I'm
Mhm.
afraid that I'm going to sacrifice something important in my life.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah. So I'm gonna think it's very real and important. And I'm so glad you said it because I want to say, I'll say it and maybe I'll tell the story. It is what I think that you'll emotionally experience it later. So I'm going to tell you something that might feel just intellectual right now is I would like to suggest, I feel confident that doing this and let's say planning to be able to serve 10, 20 clients, some number that's not even realistic. And you don't have to do that ever. But what I want you to imagine is that doing this work that we're working on right now is actually the thing that buys your time back with your children.
Mm.
So doing this work is what allows you to have an amazing business that serves your clients at a high level while like having other people do things that you don't need to do anymore. Um, and that doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to take a long time. It doesn't mean that you have 10 staff people unless you ever decide you want that. We can talk about that part later. But I hope, like, if you can imagine waking up in the morning and all you have to do is the one or two things that you feel like you love the most. You wake up and your computer's full of all the information you need, all the properties have been brought to you. Your job is to just cherry pick the best ones for each client and send them off. I could imagine you working from 9 until noon and you make more money, you have more free time, and I can show you how to manage the system so that nothing falls apart. I mean, not that there can't ever be errors or issues, but the systems are the way to you getting your time back with your kids. And that may be a really great thing for you to anchor to of saying, having this ClickUp done, having these systems in place is actually the path to freedom, not the path away from them.
Mm.
And the story that I would share is when I was trying to do everything in my chiropractic clinic on my own because I was where you are, I was successful. I was like I was good. Maybe it wasn't like successful, but I was good. Um, I might have seen like 16 people a day. 16 people, we collected about, let's just say 100. We didn't collect 100 a person, but let's say it was 100, right? So I made 1,600 a day, paid the staff, paid the rent, paid the taxes, paid all the utilities, everything else, and I might have taken home a couple $1,000s a month. And I had consultants that said, "We need to document your systems. We need to get this in place so you can delegate." See, and I'm like, "Oh, it's too much. Like I'm already busy. I can't do all this." And now I got to manage the systems and manage the people and make sure they do the things. And I'm like, no. But I didn't see another way out other than continuing to just work and work and work. And once I did it, and it took a bit. Um, we went on to see, like I said, about 60 people a day on average. So my income went from 1,600 a day to about 6,000 a day. I mean, I didn't get to take that home. That was our collections, right? So $6,000 a day. We were open 20 days a month. So we averaged about 100 grand. It wasn't quite 120. We averaged about 100,000 a month
Mm.
instead of averaging about 16 to 20,000 on a busy month. I owned my business while I lived 1,000 miles away. I owned it for 3 years and still got paid about $35,000 a month for about 3 years. And it's a great business. It's still there. A lot of the staff are still the same. A lot of the patients are still the same. So if you can imagine, your investors are still the same. Everybody's getting an amazing experience, but you just do the things you're amazing at because you put all the recipes in place. It's actually your path to freedom.
Wow.
So
I have,
that's why.
yeah, I've heard stories like that before, that systems will buy you back freedom, but that there is a gap in my
Yeah,
mind. How do you get there? I can't see that way there.
yeah. I get it. And I could easily say
Especially
trust.
for like you and I, we are done for you practitioners.
Mhm.
If your hands are not on that patient's body, whose hands is there?
Yeah, right.
I can't get around that thinking. Like,
Yeah,
if I don't buy the properties for my client, who is doing that? Like,
yeah.
I
So if there's a part that you want to hold on to, like, so for me, I wanted to still work for quite a while. And then I got to a point where I was like, I'm kind of getting tired. Like, I want to try something new. But the beauty of it is that I already had the systems in place. So I could decide. I brought in another chiropractor. It took me a couple to get the right person. And then I taught him what I did. And then gradually he started taking over some clients and then more clients. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. He's good. He's got the systems. He's doing it the way that I would do it. I mean, also sometimes people doing things a little differently is okay, but it's your business still, right? Like, so he might have had a little bit of different mannerisms or things he said,
mm,
but ultimately he wasn't devaluing my brand, right? Like, he
right.
wasn't just a jerk who showed up late and was bad at his job. And it was a process for me to learn to allow space for but this is like down the road for you. But so it wasn't just like, oh, I made the system, I'm out, and then everything just goes to shit. It
Yeah,
wasn't that, right? Like, to be
yeah.
totally frank, there's a way to transition it. But prior to any of that happening, I still wanted to be there. But what I realized is I can be here, but I don't have to be clicking all the buttons. I can look at what I need. Someone else for a very reasonable rate can give me the data I need. I can teach them what I need. And therefore, I can focus on what I'm the best at. Nobody else in that office, except for when I hired this other doctor, nobody else could adjust, right? To do the manipulation of the spine. So without me, all those other things wouldn't have mattered,
Yeah.
right? So I just did that one thing that only I could do. And for you, it might be, I don't know exactly yet. It's either something only you can do or something that you just love and you want to do. Um, did I love greeting patients? Yes. But should I be? No. I know that. Like, did I love talking to them about their, musculoskeletal imbalances? Sometimes.
Mm,
But, but there were people that weren't getting adjusted because I was greeting patients at the door. Um, and so then we became a team. So anyway, so part of it is trusting it into, just understanding that systems are the path for you to have more money and more impact and more time with your children. Systems are the only way that you'll get there. There's otherwise you know what your maximum capacity is right
yes.
now, like
Yeah.
3 maybe.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
So you either accept that 3 is what you've got, or you say, okay, I'll see what else. And so I love that we're getting to work together because you already have something to sell. You already have high integrity. You already have a lot of systems of how you do things. Yeah. So you have all the assets. And I feel completely confident. I feel completely comfortable and confident that I'm the right person for you to guide you through this process. If you choose to accept the mission, which you already have. So I'm not even
Mm.
putting that on the table, but
I'm grateful.
um,
Like, I'm grateful that you are. I'm not saying that the other coaches are bad or anything like that. I don't really know them except for Coach Kanu. But
yeah.
after working with you, this is our second call.
Mhm.
now, especially today, when you're mentioning to me what you personally have done to get systems to help you get out of the thing,
Mhm.
that's inspiring, and that's what I really need. I always believe in systems. I just don't know how systems can help me. I know it
Yeah.
helps me microscopically. I'm a detailed person. It helps me with coming out of the details and having a system for me to work efficiently. But I can't see how a system could help me get out of the system. So
Mhm.
so this is I need help with that. Then this is what I need. I think you've given me a lot of that
Yeah.
inspiration
Thank you.
and confidence to be able to trust your words, get this done, and
Then we'll do the
hopefully
next
12
step.
months, 24 months later.
Yeah. Yeah. We can, yeah, it's going to become apparent to you. And I think because I know that you're a quick action taker because you did the things that we talked about the last time, I think it will become more and more apparent to you faster than you might think and faster than other people probably would experience it. I don't do this. Most of the people that I work with initially, at least in Activate, are still trying to figure out what their thing is, right? They don't know that they're in real estate. They don't know that they help investors. They don't have investors. They don't, they don't have any system in place. They're starting from complete idea. So because of that, and my background in real estate and investing and knowing,
Yeah,
understanding from, I think
yeah.
you'll readily see how the systems can set you free. And I suppose lastly, I would say, imagine if you'd never had any system. Like, let's say, I don't know, I'm going back to the food analogy, like something maybe more complicated than a ham sandwich, right? But maybe you have a special way to make ham and cheese. You got a favorite cheese, a
Mm,
favorite bread, a favorite whatever you put on it, ham. Um, if you walk out into the world and say, someone make me lunch, but you don't give them anything else, you can see that it's impossible for them to win that assignment, right? They just don't know. And therefore, you have to keep making your own lunch.
yeah.
That's the goal of a system, is to say, I want lunch and here's how I would like it. And the other person's like, I want to make you lunch. I just don't know how you like it. And you say,
Mhm.
great, here's how I like it. And then they have a recipe to follow. That's exactly what a system does. And now all of a sudden you're sitting in the sunshine, just relaxing while someone else is making you lunch. That's how they set you free.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can hear me now, but you won't emotionally believe me probably till later, which is 100% normal. Yeah,
I'm gonna trust you on this.
thank you. Thank you. I'm wondering if you would, if you upload this recording to the cloud, would you share it with my email? Or I don't know if you're going to upload it because it's on your
Yeah,
computer right now. It takes up a lot of space. So if
yeah,
you put it on the cloud, would you share it with me? Email
yeah.
it to me?
Sure, sure. Yeah,
I would love to.
yeah, I'll
Hear it.
try to do that.
Okay.
Sometime
All right,
today.
good. Yeah, you can probably, if it's too big to upload to Drive, you should be able to upload it to Dropbox.
Right, okay.
If not, you definitely could upload it to YouTube and just make it unlisted.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. If you get
Okay.
stuck, let me know. But
All right.
I'd love to save it so that I can remember all the bullet points that we went through as well.
Yeah, will do.
Awesome. Okay. All right.
Thank you very
Nice.
much. It's on to my next strategy session with one of my clients. So
Okay. Have fun. Notice what systems you're gonna notice what you're saying that you always say. That's a system. And then just tag me in those 3 bits of homework and I'll keep an eye out for you.
okay, will do.
Awesome.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much,
It's a
Jennifer.
pleasure. Thanks,
All right.
Dan. Okay,
See ya.
bye.
Bye.